What's up, everybody? Hey, thank you guys for joining today's podcast. Today's podcast episode, Being Lost in Love. Alright, this episode, I guess, kind of be like a little dip into the pool, if your toes or not, a little toe dip. About just being in love in general, I guess you could say, or whatnot. When I thought about this idea of talking about it, I was slick reaching all over the place of different things I could talk about, and I was trying to think of all the things that I talked about before, and like what are some of the new things that I can talk about and everything like that. I use it in the I use different methods to figure that out or not. But when I came up with this one, I was thinking about just how there's like different moments and different feelings that you have whenever you're in love in a relationship or whatnot, and being lost is one of those types of situations, I guess you could say. um I don't know if I necessarily have one of those experiences myself per se, because I've only I've only been in two relationships, and at the same time I've only been in love in one of those relationships, but I've grown to love that other person. So that hasn't been like the issue or whatnot. But I don't really guess I have like a feeling where I was just lost, and not really sure what I was doing in a certain sense or whatnot, or not really understanding what it is that my position in this relationship was really meaning or whatnot, in a certain sense. But I have seen it to a lesser degree in other people. And whenever you're in a relationship, it's two people in a relationship or whatnot, and it's for me, it's more of a mutual type of a mutual symbiotic type of situation where you put in effort and then the other person puts in effort, and both of you kind of feed off of each other with everything that goes on. And I know for me, I kind of look at my in a situation for me, it would be like my girlfriend. I kind of look for like that validation in a different sense from her about the different things I might do in life, or the different things I have planning and things of that nature. And it's kind of like how it is, like you just look for different things in that other person that you wouldn't necessarily look for in other people, or you might look for those same things in like your like closest group of friends, but whenever it's from that significant person, it just holds more weight, and it makes you want to do things more, or makes you want to do things less whenever they give their comment about it, whenever they give their 2 cents on the situation per se. And there are a lot of moments when you are in love though, that you're like thinking to yourself, okay, how's this like making me feeling for real, and like how's this kind of changing like my mindset in life and everything like that. And I know for some people it's kind of like they go off the rail in a sense. They're so enthralled, so unraveled, I don't know if that's a good word to say in that necessary moment, but they're like just into the relationship so much and into the other person that they kind of don't understand the different turns that their life is taking necessarily. And everybody knows those people who get into a relationship and they start to act funny, they start to act different around you and towards your friends or whatnot. And we always want to point out to those people like this is happening, and then everybody's always in denial or something like that until later on in the relationship, or until after they've broken up with that person, and then they really have a sit down with their friends and they're like, this is what you were doing, bro, like, can you get out of this, like, come on. And for me to try to break that down is, well, I can attest to that a little bit, because in my first relationship, honestly, I kind of can, I kind of can't, because in high school for me, I didn't really hang out with a lot of people, and that was kind of a little bit of my doing, but also a little bit of the other people's doing who I claim to be like my good friends or whatnot. I was always busy doing something. whether that was at school or at church or whatever. I was always busy doing something, so it's not like I had a lot of off days necessarily, if you want to call them off days or whatnot, but just days where I could chill or whatever and things like that. And also at the same time, I didn't have a lot of moments where people offered me to like come and hang out or like go to a party or something like that, or just come over to like play some video games or like that. A few of those moments that did happen early on, especially in high school, I shut it down. And I know in my relationship that I had going on at the time, I just was really focused on being with my girlfriend a lot, and like I really wasn't putting in any time with none of my friends or anything. And only time I really like put any energy towards them was at school. And I realized later on that I was doing that, and that wasn't necessarily the best way to go about it, because I think a lot of people just get into this mindset where you feel like if that person is the most important person in your life, then you have to dedicate pretty much all your time to them. And I guess in those moments, we don't necessarily understand that when you're in a relationship, it's not about being there and doing everything for that person or whatnot, but it's about lending your time when you do have the time, when you make time for that person, but not overdo it. When you're in a relationship or you're just talking to somebody or whatever, you have to be your own person in a sense. You still have to hang out with your friends, still go out and do whatever it is that you can do, and know the boundaries and the barriers that you have when it comes to talking to the opposite sex or whatever those situations are. And for me, it's all about just learning to have that trust factor in there, and understanding that I can still like go out and do stuff and be myself and talk to other females still, but not do it to a point where it's a detriment to me and my relationship, because that's the point where things go off the wall and that you don't really understand what it is that you're doing to be of a negative impact. So a lot of my like revitalization, trying to recoup my mind and everything, has been trying to figure out where is that fine line where I can still do stuff and where I can know that I'm still gonna have friends too, and that they're fine with my situation as well, and still be able to be all in my relationship or whatnot. But going back to like people being lost, like you get so caught up in whatever it is that you're doing that you're not that you forget that you are your own person, and that you have other people in your life who like still want to be part of your life and still want to spend time with you and things of that nature. And then it's like we just don't even search for people to even give us their opinions or anything like that anymore. Like the only person we hold in value in certain contempt is our significant other or whatnot. And we don't even realize how damaging that is until after the fact. 2020 hindsight is always best, because when we're in the moment of whatever it is that we're doing, we're only going through one mindset, one track, and we're not really understanding the ramifications that it could have in all angles and all aspects. But I mean, that's why life is a learning tool, and it's the greatest experience that we can have, especially being in a relationship, because I know for me, I've probably learned way more about myself and about the things that I've been doing wrong versus the things that I was doing right, or learned about other people in a certain sense. I've learned about communication and like relationship skills or whatnot, but I've just learned a lot more about the type of person I am and the type of things that I want and the type of things that I need in a certain sense to be able to, go in day-to-day fashion. And it's been really eye-opening, to say the least, because you don't really understand how much you gain from having those situations going on in your life. And like every relationship, even when it's ended or whatnot, it doesn't have to be a bad breakup or anything. It doesn't have to be a failed relationship or whatnot. Sometimes you get to a point where one of you or both of you just realize this isn't working for me anymore, or I feel like there's more for me to be doing in my life than this, and I'm not getting the same energy, the same type of stability that I once was getting when I started off in this relationship or whatnot. And it hurts, honestly, for both people, sometimes for both people. And it takes time to reassess yourself and reinsert yourself back into like this regular societal light, with all the other single people in the world or whatnot. But it lets you know that there are moments in time where you can come to a certain agreement with people about the ending of those different type of relationships or whatnot, and still come out on the other end better than what you did when you came, than how you came into that agreement of that situation. But for a lot of people who've like been through those type of mental battles that they've had with themselves and everything, you don't even understand why it is that you do the things that you do as well. You just feel like as long as you're pleasing that other person, that you're doing the best thing that you can. And in certain aspects, you're not even realizing that you're not being good enough to yourself. And that's like the main thing I've been trying to preach to myself a lot lately, and just talk to other people about as well. Like, in order to be in a relationship or do anything major on that level, like, you have to be good with yourself in every aspect, and you have to love yourself to a certain extent as well. And if you're not capable to handle anything extra going on in your life, then a relationship or whatnot is not going to work, because you're going to get to the point where you're going to be picking and choosing different things that you want, and you're not going to be able to fulfill those marks of happiness that you need in your life to be able to continue going on as a regular human being. And for me, it's all been about trying to figure out where can I make it to the point where I'm satisfied with James and whatever that he's doing or whatnot. And once I get to that point, that's when I feel like I can add in other things in my life. And right now, I'm feeling at the point that I'm doing good enough with this podcast that I can add back in like the YouTube element and everything like that. And I got through summer school unscathed or whatnot. So when the fall semester comes around, I gotta add in school. If I feel like I can juggle all of those things, I might add in this or that. And then once I get to another point where it's like, okay, I'm feeling where my life is going, I'm understanding how things are working, I know what it is that I want, and that I know at the end of the day, like, me having a relationship isn't like the end all be all, but at the same time, I do just want somebody to like be there with or be on a different level than just kind of like a best friend or whatnot. Then that's when you'll see me adding in that other factor, that other kind of like slice to the pie of like a relationship again or whatnot. And then because of everything that I've experienced and because of watching other people as well, I already gained the tools and the knowledge to be able to understand what's good and what's bad, and what it is that I want and what it is that I don't want, so that I don't find myself being lost in love, or find myself tripping my own self up over how my regular self life is going. Because just because I'm in this thing with another person doesn't mean that I don't have a whole totally separate part to myself that still has to keep going in its own right. So I just hope you guys understood what I was saying a good bit. And I mean, I like having conversations like that with just anybody, honestly. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are in life, and whether you're single or not single at this point in time. But I just love having conversations with people like that. And honestly, for me, I got to get to a point where I'm just more open and more willing to seek out those different kind of conversations with any and everybody, because you can always gain different perspectives from anywhere in the world. And so for me, I got to get more trusting in that process and be able to open myself up a little bit more and be vulnerable in those different moments. But hope you guys enjoy the podcast as well. Stick with me, man, for the podcast later on in the week. And I hope you guys are going back and listening to some of the other podcasts that you might have missed or not, might be curious to listen to. And yeah, just keep doing our thing. Peace.